I've been wanting to make this video for a long time now, based on this particular topic. But every time I plan to sit myself down to talk about this, I always forget. I always forget because I always have something else to do. But now is the time. Today's the time that I'm going to talk about my love for two soap operas from when I was a very young boy. A little boy, not a teenager at that. These two soap operas are known as All My Children. And the other is One Life to Live. Now, I know a lot of you out there are probably wondering, what was a little boy named Amin Parker doing watching soap operas? Shouldn't he been in school, focusing on his work? Well, of course, I was a goody two-shoes. I was a nerd. So, of course, I was in school, doing what I was supposed to do. But what about summer vacation? I had all the time in the world to just watch TV. Also on holidays, I watched TV. Whenever I got the opportunity, I was watching soap operas. And I became hooked initially on All My Children. The story of Erica Kane. The tragedy that she'd been through when she was growing up as a teenager. The harsh tragedy that she had to go through at the hands of her father and some wicked, evil man that was somewhat associated to her father, which eventually led to Kendall being born. And that's where a lot of drama came about between Erica and Kendall. And a lot of you fans out there know what I'm talking about, but because my channel is, basically a PG channel, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the storylines got heated. Back in the day, I would say it became very, very interesting. That whole storyline with Erica and her evil daughter, Kendall. Obviously, eventually, Erica had another child who became one of the most beloved characters on the show. And that child was named Bianca. And Bianca also went through a very similar tragedy, just like her mom, Erica Kane. And you fans out there know exactly what I'm talking about. By the hands of Michael Cambias. Trust me, when All My Children was running these storylines, the ratings went through the roof. The show was unbelievably good. But All My Children had a very strong competitor in the show known as One Life to Live, which also tackled a very similar topic by way of Todd Manning. And One Life to Live fans know that Todd Manning is one of the greatest characters in soap opera history. The young man started out as a very evil villain. One of the most evil villains out there that you will ever find in soaps. The evil thing that he did to Marty Saybrook. And you fans out there know exactly what I'm talking about because he did to Marty what Michael Cambias did to Bianca, as well as what happened to Erica Kane when she was growing up. Now keep in mind, usually evil villains don't last long on these shows. You can't really do much with an evil villain. But when it came to Todd Manning, the writers of the show made it a very strong point to keep this character on the show to the very end. Even if it means growing the character into a way where the audience will eventually love him so much that they will never want to see him go. But it took time for Todd to become a good character in the eyes of the viewers. And that took time, and it took character development, and it took growth, but it happened naturally. And this is why he's one of the best characters in soap history. But Erica Kane is one of the most iconic, well-known characters in the whole entire genre. Her daughters, Kendall and Bianca, had fantastic storylines on All My Children. Todd had great storylines with Marty Saybrook on One Life to Live. And there was tons upon tons of other characters on both of these shows that have their own fan bases. Unfortunately, what happened, why both shows are no longer around, is because Disney bought ABC. And it means they bought the rights to these shows. But these shows basically touched on some topics that can be very offensive. These shows touched on topics that kids should not really be aware of. And although I was watching these shows when I started out, I watched these shows as a kid, it didn't affect me because, I don't know, maybe I'm more mature, I guess, than a lot of others. And there was a lot of romance on these shows too. A lot of romance. Maybe kids really shouldn't be watching those type of shows during the daytime. But like I said, it didn't really affect me, but who knows? Maybe watching those type of stories could affect the child. Maybe it did affect me in some way, but I just don't know. But yeah, the only show that's really left at this point for ABC when it comes to soap operas is General Hospital. And General Hospital tried to incorporate some of those One Life to Live characters into its stories. They tried to bring on the character of Todd, as well as Star, who is Todd's daughter. But unfortunately, they lost the rights to those characters through some legal issues that I'm not really too clear on at the moment. But yes, the shows are now gone. Disney didn't want to keep those shows for whatever reason. I don't know. But like I said, maybe it's because of the mature content that was being shown on daytime TV. But that cannot really explain why General Hospital is still around. And that's still on daytime TV, where kids can easily see it. And that show is no different than All My Children and One Life to Live. But I just wanted to touch on this topic. I want to think back and reflect on the love that I have for those shows. I was watching those shows through my teenage years, wanting to go home to check out and see what is going on in Pine Valley, what is going on in Landview. You know, so many different characters. I remember Trevor from All My Children, and he was a detective, and he had great storylines as a police officer, trying to solve crimes that has taken place there. You know, you had Jesse over on One Life to Live, and his romance. You know, he was also a police officer there. Both shows had great storylines for police officers. They had great storylines within hospitals, which is why General Hospital is a big series still, because People love those hospital storylines. And for the most part, most women watch soap operas. And I know I am a man, and it's very rare for a man to watch soaps. There is some stigma. Men look at men in a weird way when they watch soap operas. Just like women look at men in a very strange way when they still play video games. Certain things have a stigma. Why? I don't know. Doesn't make a lot of sense. You know, some men look down on other men if they're playing Nintendo and not playing PlayStation. You see, people just have a stigma when it comes to certain things. But I don't care about stigmas. It doesn't faze me. I will still preach the love that I have for soap operas and Nintendo. And to some degree, Disney. Even though Disney has been doing certain things that is strongly questionable these days. You know, but I still have a love for Disney too. Now, I'm going to wrap this up. How do you feel about these soaps that I mentioned? All My Children and One Life to Live. I'm sure you missed those shows too. Let me know about it. Maybe in your own response video. I would love to check that out. Well, this is Parker. And I am out.